It certainly is my privilege to have an American sports radio and television personality, and you people in New York especially know the name of John Minko, and we're going to put him on the air right now and talk to John up in New York. John, good morning.
Fred, good morning. How you doing?
Well, just about as well as could be expected, actually.
I understand. You know, waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning and doing the morning show. How long have you been doing the morning show?
The morning show, I've been doing that, been doing it for a long, long time. But here on the last go-around, after I retired and I moved back to Bardstown, I've been in here, 7 or 8 years with this.
Yeah,
but
how about that?
I had my own...
You know what, though?
Yeah.
Here's the difference. When I go to work, I have to take the train. I live in Jersey. I have to take the train to New York, and it takes basically, with the train and the subway and about 6 blocks of walking, it takes about an hour and a half to go 18 miles, whereupon you probably get there in about 5 minutes, right?
You hit the nail right on the head. I'm not about two miles away. And now on a snowy day, you know, we get 6 inches of snow down here. That's a dusting up there where you are.
Yes, it is.
It kind of paralyzes everything. Yeah, so it'll take me maybe a little longer than that. But normally I'm 2 minutes away from work, so that's why I don't have 40,000 miles on a 2005 automobile. I'm close enough that I could walk, I guess, but I'm thinking it might be a little risky at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, no, yeah. That can't be risky.
Well, you never know. Listen, John, you have more nicknames than Carter's got liver pills.
Yeah, well,
I see all kinds of nicknames for you, Coach.
Yes, I coached girls softball. Several years, a traveling team, 12 and under.
Right.
And I did that for 13 years.
Well. And the Dean of Updates, you work pretty closely with that fella up there with WFAN, Mike Francisca, is that his name?
Francesa.
Francesa. Oh, Francesa. Yep. Okay.
I've been with him for 27 years.
Right. And, I credit you with getting my fan club started up there in New York because you were on with Mike there one time, and he asked you what your favorite radio station was or something to that effect. And how in the world did you find me amongst all the choices you had? Well,
you figure this. In today's day and age, Fred, there are no secrets. There are no secrets for anything. And you figure this, I used to broadcast Army football. And a lot of times one of the phrases that I used at the beginning of the game in the broadcast was that there's nowhere on the planet where the sounds of Army Navy cannot be heard. Well, you know what? There's no place on the planet. I mean, everybody can be heard around the planet. And there's the TuneIn radio app. And since I have lots of time on the train, because that's when I listen to you on the train going to where I switch to the subway to walk to work. And what ends up happening, I went through all the tune-in radio stations, or quite a bit of them, and I like hometown radio. I've been in radio for all my life, professional life, for 40 years now, and I worked in Logansport, Indiana, and you know what? I thought that WBRT was one of the best hometown community radio stations that I've heard, because so many of the stations now are syndicated and flip a switch, and I don't want to give your boss any ideas here, but it's like that now, and you're close, to live and local in the key parts of the day, and I think that's pretty impressive, and that's one of the reasons I listen.
Well, we're pretty laid back here and all, but when I found out I had the following in New York it kind of seems that I have up there, I was thinking, we're a country music station. I'm thinking, when I think New York, I'm thinking opera.
You are?
Well, I'm beginning to think differently now.
I live here. I can tell you that. I live here, and I'm not thinking opera.
Yeah. Well, I've heard from several different people saying that they do like the country music, and even some of the bluegrass that we play down here.
Oh, yeah.
And
and country music is not, really big here in New York. We don't have an abundance of radio stations. I worked for a radio station in Indianapolis that was a legendary country station at the time, WIRE. A long time ago, about 30 years ago.
Right.
And they're not, it's different now. But we don't have a lot of country music here in the New York. And a lot of the country music artists, you don't see them playing a number. You may see Rascal Flatts and Brad Paisley every once in a while around here, but they don't come here.
Yeah. Okay. I heard you say on Mike Francesca's program the other day, he asked you how old it was. You said 72. You didn't miss it but 3 years. I'm 75, actually.
75?
Yeah. Wow. Retirement for me is just something that's just gotten lost in the shuffle. I don't even think about it. I'm thinking, if I retire, what am I going to do? Be bored to death? Because this is all I've ever been in for years.
But you retired and you came back?
No. Well, yes, I retired, then I came back. I moved back. I lived away from Bardstown for many years, and I was associated with 2 different radio stations. But I ended up moving back, and I've had several different other jobs, other than radio, but I never did. I had to get back in radio. You get it in your blood, it stays there. And I had the opportunity to come back here with WBRT right where I started, right when I got out of high school. And I love everything I do. I mean, it probably shows on the air. I like my job, and it makes it much easier. It's almost like I've got a hobby here that they pay me for. and listen, I have the best bosses in the world. That makes it. I've worked for some people that, were difficult to work for. I hated the job. I've sold groceries, sold carpet, and everything else. But it's almost like a marriage made in heaven here. They're very good to me, and this station as a whole is, according to the recent ratings, we're above and beyond anybody else in the area, and that makes me happy. I'd like to think I'm a little bit part of that.
Well, absolutely during doing the morning show, but you figure this way, considering what hometown radio is, and your boss can probably shed some light on what other people do around the country. But you in the key day parts of WBRT being live and local, the folks there in Bardstown, they're pretty lucky to have a radio station like that, because a lot of towns in this country, the size of Bardstown, they don't have that.
Well, see, we do a lot of remote broadcast certain events. We broadcast the high school football games and stay pretty much on top of those. And, the more local we can have here, the better for us. That's what people want to hear. I mean, we're just a small country station, and they want to know what's going on locally. You can pick up any newspaper in the country and find out what's going on in other places. But, we concentrate on local. We do a lot of live remotes, and we try to get our hands into all kinds of events around here, whether we broadcast them live or not. That's what makes us, I guess, so popular, that we'll stay on top of anything local.
Yeah, and I've done my share of high school football play-by-play.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, back in the days of Indiana days.
Yeah, and
when I worked in Indianapolis and in Logansport, that was my first job 40 years ago.
Right.
It was a WSAL radio in Logansport, and that was a hometown community station. And really, right now, it's not so much anymore.
Right.
A few hours in the morning, and that's about it.
That's it. Let me ask you something. What about that lady on Major League Baseball game on TV the other night?
Yeah. she does.
Did I put you on the spot, Mike?
No, she does it. She does a nice
John,
job.
I mean.
She does a nice job.
Okay. All right, good. I rest my case.
Now, you like baseball?
Yeah, I like baseball pretty well.
So you watch the Yankees?
Yeah, occasionally I do. Yeah, the Yankees. But my favorite is basketball. I went to University of Kentucky, and we got the Wildcats down here. They have several national titles, and I went to UK for a while. So, I'm more into basketball than I am anything. And when the Final Four comes on, like the NCAA tournaments, it'd be hard to get my attention for about 4 days.
How about that?
Yeah, I love basketball.
Yeah, I broadcast St. John's.
Did you?
In New York. and we played Kentucky a few years ago down at Rupp Arena.
Mm-hmm.
And
Okay.
it's quite a scene in that building.
Yes.
And I guess they're going to renovate it. At least I think that's what they want.
That's, I think, what the plan is, yeah.
I mean, they get 20-something thousand a game for those for Calipari. So
Yeah.
I guess they want more.
Yeah. And speaking of Calipari, wasn't he interviewed by Mike at one time here recently?
Yes, he was.
And
Oh
that-
yeah, no. Mike was Coach Cal was in the studios in New York.
Yeah. Okay.
No, Mike and Coach go back a long ways.
Oh, I see. Okay,
Yeah.
so they're like
So-
old friends then.
They're old friends.
That's good.
So whenever Calipari is in the New York area, he drops by to see Mike.
Oh, well, that's good. That's good. Let me ask you something here. What's the deal on this Minko Morning Zoo that you were called at one time?
Well, this is.
I hope I'm not asking you something that's putting you on the spot. If you do, just
No,
plead the fifth or something.
No, you see, in reality, I'm an answer to a trivia question.
Okay.
28 years ago, WFAN became the first all-sports radio station in the country. And that was July 1st of 1987.
Okay.
And we were the first to do all sports. And I've been there every step of the way. I was there the day number one.
Mm-hmm.
And our morning person on day number one was a familiar name, Greg Gumbel.
Okay.
And he did mornings, and then he left, and we were going to have Don Imus do the mornings, Imus in the morning. But there was a 3-week gap between Greg Gumbel and Don Imus, and the program director at that time did not want to disrupt the rest of the programming. So he said to me, he says, "You want to do mornings for 3 weeks?"
Uh-huh.
I said, "Sure."
Mm-hmm.
I said, I guess it'll be fun. I can, go someday and say I did morning drive in New York. So I did it for 3 weeks, and we called it the McMorning Zoo, and it was probably the worst show in the history of radio.
Okay. Well, you fell into it just about by chance, then. In other words.
Yeah.
More or less.
Well, I don't know if it was by chance or there was nobody else to do it.
I've heard the same thing down here about the party line. But I don't mind it at all. I've met a lot of fine people since I've been in the radio, a lot of nice people, and that just kind of makes it all worthwhile. As far as getting up early in the morning, doesn't bother me one bit, not one bit. I'm doing what I've always done and what I like best.
Especially when you can get there in 5 minutes.
Well, yeah, I was thinking about getting me a bicycle. And but I'm about just 5 minutes away from work. A couple of miles will do it for me.
We had somebody at WFAN when we moved to Lower Manhattan that tried to get to work on a scooter, and he tumbled over one day on the sidewalks of New York, and he hasn't been on that scooter since.
Well, see, that would be my problem unless my scooter had 3 wheels on it. It may have to have 4. Especially during the winter time. So, I figure that's a little bit too risky. Last year it was so bad down here, we considered it bad. We had a lot of snow and ice and everything. I had to get my neighbor, who has a 4-wheel drive, to bring me in to get into the studios. When duty called, we try to figure out a way to get there.
Yes, I understand that. We've a lot of folks in radio have like the night before, if there's a big storm, you end up sleeping on the floor.
Right.
Or you sleep on the couch.
Right.
Or something. I've quote unquote been there, done that several times.
And just kept you right at the studio.
Oh yeah. We get there ahead of time, and you sit there. And now they put us up in hotels.
Put a hotel. Okay. We got a big blow-up mattress here upstairs. The only problem is it just fits my boss, and I sink too far down in it. He's in the studio with me, and I think he wants to ask you something or say something to you, John, okay?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, here he is. His name's Ross Stratton. Here he is.
Well, John, thank you. So many things came up as I'm hearing you talk. Now, Logansport, is that just across the river from Kentucky?
No, Logansport is near Lafayette, West Lafayette, Indiana.
Okay. There's a community, Logan something, just across the river. And then how many years did you do Army football?
I did Army play-by-play for 10 years.
10 years. My brother is a graduate of the military academy, and during his time there served for a couple of years as the team manager. So we have to watch a lot of Army-Navy games. Try to, and not so much in recent years, but that's a tough place to coach football when you have so many restrictions on the kind of players you can have on your team, height-wise, and a few other things to meet the military.
I understand. I mean, I did the play-by-play from the years 2000 through 2014. No, to 2009. I did 10 years. But I do a pregame show now.
Okay.
But you know what? And you would know this. Going to West Point, those are special people.
Yeah, they are.
That are there. And I've been on charters with the football team, and it's not. It's odd, but they had beaten Tulane several years ago, and was their first road victory in quite a number of years. And you would sit there and think that the players would be celebrating and all this flying back from New Orleans. And I remember sitting in the back of the plane, and what happens is that they were tutors, and these players in front of me were going through architecture books, and I'm sitting there reading Sports Illustrated. And I said, I think there's a problem here or a difference. And it was that I always remember that.
Yeah. They are a different group. Mike Silliman from up in Louisville was played basketball there and was on a U.S. Olympic team, and of course died tragically of a heart attack a few years ago. But they are. It's an interesting thing when you follow their sports, when you realize that they have you got to meet all these standards, and most schools obviously have academic standards, but you have standards to be at any of the military academies that are just a little bit tougher than.
And I believe Mike Silliman played for Bob Knight.
He did. I think that's right.
When he was the coach at West Point, and of course Mike Krzyzewski played for Coach Knight at West Point as well.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to let you and Fred reconnect, but I heard a couple of things I just had to ask.
West Point is a special place. The people are special, and I'll be up there tomorrow for the Army football game against Duke.
Uh-oh. Duke's got a pretty good program going on right now.
Yeah, they do now.
Yeah, they do now.
Before, they had struggled in football for many years, and now all of a sudden they're not up to the extent of the basketball program, but they're beginning to win a little bit more often.
Exactly. All right. Well, again, thank you so much, and now back to Fred, as we say many times every morning here at WBRT.
There you go, back to Fred.
Well, I'm right here. That's the boss man. They just kind of turn me loose in here every morning and let me do my own thing, and I'm thinking, well, if I say something that's not right, I'm going to hear about it, and I haven't heard about it in the last 20 years.
Hey, when I say something that's not right, I hear about it too.
Do you? Well, our listeners, they'll hold our feet to the fire when it comes to certain things. If we make a mistake, we'll hear about it one way or the other. I had to laugh when I heard you on there with Mike. Somebody sent us that down. I can't remember who. I've got a girl taking care of everything.
Mike has his own fan club and everything.
Yeah.
And they take care of everything.
Yeah.
They're monitoring me right now.
Yeah, I had to laugh when Mike asked you what your favorite program was. You told him Wake Up with Fred, and he said, "Who? Fred? Who?" And
he said, "Who's Fred?"
Yeah, and then he says something to the effect, "How did you find him?" And you said, "I don't know." I was just in the rotation, I guess.
Now, do I get a Wake Up with Fred T-shirt for this appearance?
I certainly will do that for you. Yes, sir. I'd say we're looking at a picture of you right now. I'd say you're about an extra large. Huh?
Yeah, I suppose.
But you like the zip ups?
No, large is fine.
Large is fine.
I'm not as slim as you.
Well, I'll tell you what. If I get much thinner, I'm gonna evaporate. I think I'm just hyper, and I keep it all run off. I'm pretty hyper. I stand up the whole time I'm on the air with my show from 6:30 to 9. I'm standing.
Yeah, you know what? That technically, that's the way I was taught back in the day. And the reason why you do that is so that you have good posture,
right,
and that you speak through your chest as opposed through your mouth.
Right. I was told
why
that.
You do that.
Right.
You sound better.
Way back when I first started in radio, I had to have a third-class radio telephone license. You remember those days?
Oh, yes.
And I've got it on my wall here in my office. Well, you don't have to have all that now. But one of the things they did teach me is that if you can do it standing up, kind of makes you sound more alert. I think when people sit down and try to be on the air, you kind of tend to be a little sluggish sounding. And here I am coming in here trying to wake them up. So if I'm sound asleep and sluggish, how am I going to get anybody up on their feet? It's kind of the way I figure it.
Well, that's good sound philosophy.
Well, I hope it is. And another thing, too, sitting down in here, I cannot reach all the controls in here. I'd fall out of the chair probably.
But you're on TV, too.
Well, I am on TV. I'm going to be on TV. I'm on TV right now. In fact, we have myself on one side and a picture of you on the other here right now. No, you look a heck of a lot better than I do.
Bardstown will never be the same.
Bardstown will never be the same. No, we're the bourbon capital of the world, you know.
Yes, that's what I hear.
Yeah, and we're not.
And Bardstown was ranked as one of the prettiest towns in the country.
Yes, the most beautiful town, small town in America. Yes, just recently. We're proud of that. And we have a lot of people that come here to visit all the time. Of course, we have, events going on, here and there, and people come in from all over to see Bardstown, and from what we hear, they're very impressed with our city. We're proud of our city and glad to be a part of it.
Now, how far are you from Louisville?
We're about 35 miles south of Louisville.
And are you close? Nashville?
Nashville is how far away, Rob?
150.
150, about 150 miles. I guess about 2.5 hours. About 2.5 hours from Nashville. That's on 65 going south down through Bowling Green and that way. So we're about an hour and a half, 2 hours and a half away from Nashville.
2 hours from Nashville.
Mm-hmm.
And you're fairly close to Lexington then.
Lexington, yes. Lexington's about 60 miles. We're about 60 miles. It's a lot closer than Nashville is.
About an hour's away, but
about an hour.
You probably get there quicker, though.
Well, we've got an interstate out here, and they do have a speed limit on it. But Louisville is our closest big city, about 30 miles. It's due north of us, and Lexington's kind of to the east of us here.
Yeah. It's pretty country down there. In Indiana, I worked there I went to Butler. I'm a Butler grad, and it's nice country out there. And you know what? You're in a situation that you get all 4 seasons,
right?
But you don't get the 6 feet of snow.
Well,
that we get here.
Yeah, I know that. 6 inches paralyzes us. And that's just the dusting up there where you are. And especially last winter, it was extremely bad.
It was extremely bad. Yes,
it was.
But you know what? The train goes through the snow. So I did not miss any days at work.
You're kidding me. It goes through anyway.
It goes through anyway.
What's it do? Just kind of throw it off the track as it moves?
It just plows on through.
Plows on through.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. No problem with that.
Well, just hope that one day you don't get snowbound and have to do your show from the third train back from the main engine.
But you know what, though? In today's day and age and technology, you can do shows from anywhere.
That's true. Technology has changed a lot since I first got into radio. I mean, it's so sophisticated now because I didn't have anything but 2 turntables to play the music on. Remember the old 45 discs and the 33s? And that's how I played all my music. Had some of it reel to reel. Well, I haven't got time to cue up a reel to reel in here. Everything is automatic and push a button and it's on, And when I was on before, when I first started in radio, I was lucky. I wasn't sure my signal was getting to the south side of Bardstown. And now we're going around the world.
And you're exactly right. It's amazing with these radio apps, whether it be the Internet. There's so many ways to get your program anywhere.
Yes.
You know, I mean, and that means, in Europe and anywhere.
That's true.
People can wake up with Fred anywhere.
Well, that's true, and we've heard from some people picking us up on the internet from some faraway places. Be honest about it, but I think New York holds the #1 spot right now.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, it makes me happy, but I'll be honest with you, I'm overwhelmed in the 20 years I've been in radio that I have such a following in New York. My boss is laughing back here, and that they think so highly of me, and not only myself, but the radio station too. This is a combined effort of all of us in here to do what we do and make this station what it is right now.
Yeah.
We're number
like
one.
I said, I've been in radio for 40 years, and from a hometown radio standpoint, WBRT is right up there with all your programming and the local stuff and the remotes and it is an interesting way you present high school football. I do have to say that.
Well, appreciate that.
But it is entertaining. It's very good.
Well, I appreciate that. And anything else we need to add here? I've really enjoyed talking to you.
No, it was great being on with you, Fred, and back, let's say I work Sunday through Thursday during the football season. I'm on with Mike on Sunday mornings,
right?
From 9 until noon most times before we have the New York Giants, and we have them on our radio station. So I'll be back on the train at 8 o'clock Monday morning, and that's when I will dial in the TuneIn app.
Okay. Okay, sounds good to me.
Okay, Fred.
It makes it worthwhile for me to get in here at whatever hour I have to get in here.
Yeah, but it only takes you 5 minutes.
Well, I'd be willing to sacrifice 10 to hear what I've heard out of New York lately. I'd walk if I had to, because I know they're sitting there waiting to hear me come on at 6:30, so I'm ready to go after I've drank about 2 gallons of coffee. I'm geared up.
There you go.
It's been a pleasure, John, and thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to have this time with such a famous fella.
Oh, I don't know about that, but it's I guess it's good. It's good you entertain me in the mornings on the train, and it was fun being on today.
Well, certainly was here too. I was looking forward to it, and I'm sure we have listeners out there that tell me the same thing. I'll be hearing about this interview all day long.
Oh, you'll be today. You'll be hearing about this for a month.
I know, and my emails are going to be full when I get home tonight.
now, are you on Twitter?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we're on Twitter, but I have an email address too.
Well, so. Yeah, no, you'll be hearing plenty of this.
I'm sure I will. I'm sure I will.
Yeah.
My fiancée, she is taking all the messages that I get on Twitter, and I can't believe that I'm looking at what I'm looking at sometimes and the things that are being said. I've never in my life in radio have ever been faced with such attention. Actually, I'm just speechless. First time in 20 years, I'm speechless, John.
But Fred, bottom line is, being speechless and being on the radio is not a good combination.
You know what? The only thing keeps me out of here and taking a day off is laryngitis. But I look forward to coming in because I know people are listening to me, and I love the fact that they are listening to me, and I wake them up and try to get them in a positive attitude and make their day go better, maybe. So it works for me, and I'll continue doing it until I just absolutely can't do it anymore.
There you go. That's the good attitude. Well, it's got to be happy with that.
That's right. Well, listen, thanks again, John, and listen, you have a good one, okay?
Okay, have a good weekend, and everybody in Kentucky as well.
Absolutely, and as regards that shirt, you'll be hearing from me.
Okay.
All righty.
Very good. Thanks, Fred.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay.